everybody, I've got a Halloween video for you with 3 things going on in particular. The first thing is we are going to punch out the latest set of Monster Oracle-Poggz, and that will be like a little ASMR. Then we're gonna do a choose your own adventure tarot reading, Oracle-Poggz reading, using this Goosebumps Choose Your Own Adventure book. And then if you stick around to the end, I made a new song that's kind of spooky and maybe you'd like to listen to it. So I'll have that play at the end of the video and you can check out my new song. So right now I'm just putting on some pretty nails, getting ready for the reading. Okay, so for the Oracle reading, we're going to be using the Halloween Tarot and the Tarot of the Unknown, which is Over the Garden Wall. Does it have, there we go. Over the Garden Wall. We'll also be using my Halloween Oracle-Poggz that I made a couple years ago. I'm just going to put these in a cauldron. So this is a 6-piece set that I made a couple years ago and has since been discontinued. And then this is the newest set, and it's the Monster Edition. So right now I'm going to punch out these Poggz because I know a lot of you like to watch and listen to that process. And if you want to just skip this part, I have timestamps below where you can just skip to the beginning of the reading. But here we go. The back of this packaging says, "What does it mean to be human? Does it matter? What does it mean to be truly connected? Can science wake the dead?" This 6-piece Monster Edition of Oracle-Poggz explores these questions and more. I don't know if they actually do. It's kind of a teaser that's on the back of there, but obviously they are Frankenstein monster themed, and I'm gonna pop these in the cauldron too. So we'll have 12 spooky Oracle-Poggz to choose from during our reading. Oh, and the back of the Oracle-Poggz, I'll show you this too. The back is all of the back of the Monster Poggz have this spiral. Okie doke. So you know I do these fingers on purpose because it's hilarious to try and do anything. But they're in the cauldron. And I'll shake it up more before I draw from the cauldron too. Okay, let's get into the reading. So here we have Arlstein, Give Yourself Goosebumps. Reader beware, you choose the scare. And this is number 10, Diary of a Mad Mummy. So I'm going to read a part from this book, and then it's going to give you the options for the choose your own adventure, and you're going to choose your own adventure, which will take you to the next part of the reading. And there are timestamps below that you can skip to wherever you choose to go in this book. I believe I liked page 70. It has been a while. You decide to explore the tunnel. You step into it and start to climb up its gentle slope. Almost immediately, you feel a draft. There's a weird chill in the air. Where is it coming from? Maybe the tunnel leads directly outside, you think. But then the tunnel twists sharply and starts sloping downward. You keep walking, even though the light is getting dimmer. You've gone this far. Might as well discover where it leads. A few more steps downward and ouch! Your shoulders scrape against the walls. The tunnel's getting even narrower, you notice. In fact, soon enough, the tunnel is so narrow, you have to turn sideways to fit through. And what's that funny smell? It smells like burning rubber or something. It makes your nose tingle and your throat feel tight. Suddenly, exploring doesn't seem like such a good idea. In fact, you're beginning to think it's all a big mistake. But you hate to chicken out of an adventure. And how dangerous can the basement of an office building be? Okay, so here's where you come in. If you keep going down the stinky tunnel, we're going to turn to page 93. If you decide to turn back and scurry to the stone steps, we're going to turn to page 83. So if you want to keep going, it's 93. If you want to turn back, it's 83. And in the timestamps below, just choose page 93 or page 83 to keep going with this reading. All right, if you chose page 93, let's see what happens. Okay. 93. Here we go. Hey, good for you. You've got a great spirit of adventure. There's only one pitfall with that kind of attitude. You never know when you're gonna stumble into something bad. Did we say pitfall? Did we say stumble? You take 2 more steps and your foot suddenly gets stuck in a small crack in the floor. You stumble forward and fall. Ah! You scream as you find yourself falling into a pit of 100 feet deep. You finally land on the bottom. At least you land on something soft. But then you start to sink. Thick, warm ooze covers your body, sucking you under. The ooze grows warmer and warmer. Now it's burning hot, scorching your skin. You realize the ooze is tar. Burning hot tar. You learned about tar pits in school. That's where archaeologists found the remains of cavemen and dinosaurs. The hot tar coats the body and preserves the bones. Congratulations, you're saved for the next 1,000 years. The end. Wow. Okay. Sorry, guys. That's some bad news, but let's get into the cards and see if there's any more information. But what I'm getting so far from that story is that you started something and you wanted to finish it. Even when you got some intuition, some signs, some inklings that maybe you shouldn't. And what ended up happening was a death. A sticky tar death. Now, in the case of oracle readings, death is a transformation. Death is not necessarily actually dying, nor is it a bad thing. It's just the ending of something, so something new can begin. And sometimes, in order for something to really end, we have to see it through. We have to go all the way, know for ourselves for a fact that it's messed up before we decide that we're ready to move on. So I'm sensing that that's something that happened recently. You know, I was kind of feeling like I would pull one card from each deck and one pog per reading, just to kind of keep them short and sweet. But let's just see what happens, because I am shuffling with plastic witch fingers, and I don't know. You never know. But this is the Halloween deck. And so for the group that chose their own demise deep in the dark tar pits, what advice do we have for them? Also, you guys, you know, keep in mind that it's Halloween time and the veil is thinner. Spirits are a lot more, they're easier to hear. It's easier to get information. And so if this is starting to feel like, oh, this might be an uncomfortable reading or something, like, I say stick with it, because maybe this is something that you've been needing to hear for a while, and now is the time. Now is the season of death. Now is the time to start clearing. Now is the time to start making some big decisions. Okay, so it looks like nothing else wants to come out of the Halloween deck, but that's cool, because I did say I only wanted to draw one from each. Okay, so out of the Halloween deck, we got the Five of Bats, which in regular tarot is the Five of Swords. And let's see, let me put this over here so you can see the picture. I'll also do a close-up of that. As you can see, this hooligan has stolen all of the trick-or-treating candy from this person, or at least 4 bags, and it's the Five of Bats. So maybe, you know, this guy's going around stealing everybody's candy, and some people are sad about this. It's not helpful. And look at the cat. The cat's like, you're such a meanie. The moon's super disappointed too. I think, you know, the phrase "pride goeth before the fall" just popped in my head, and I never use that phrase. Pride goeth before the fall. I am really sensing some very unconscious childish behavior. This could be you, this could be happening to you, but I think that there is like a lot of pride involved. I think that there is a conflict, and it's probably both people on both sides of the conflict, or all sides of the conflict, that are being prideful. They're not backing down because they have an appearance to keep up of some sort. They have some point that they're trying to prove. And in the case of our Goosebumps story, you know, this person was like, well, it doesn't feel right to keep going, but I've made it this far, so I might as well keep going. Like, that could be a very prideful decision too. Like, if I turn around and go back, and it did say I don't want to chicken out. I don't want to chicken out. So like, the whole concept of that it being something bad to give up before things get worse, and like, instead you're supposed to just stick it out. That's kind of silly, you know, but we are human, and we do silly stuff sometimes. and we live in some really silly times. So let's see what the Over the Garden Wall Tarot has to offer in terms of this. Get a little bit more clarity. But yeah, so I'm just sensing that there is, this one wants to come out. Okay. Oh my goodness, it's the Five of Pentacles. Wow, guys. Wow. You know what? Okay, so fives are kind of, they're like, to me, they talk about grief, especially the Five of Pentacles. Really talks about grief to me. Something has been lost. Something that maybe you really wanted and you were really going after it, and it didn't work out. And not only did it not work out, but the failure is preserved. You know, like the death in the tar pit is not just like, okay, cool, like I'm gonna die, then I can decompose and go back to, no, it's like you can't even decompose. Like your body is preserved in the position with the face that you're making when you die this terrible death. So, and that's the thing too, where pride, it's like kind of coming full circle. Pride got you into the tar pit, and now pride is making the tar pit the worst thing ever, because now you're preserved, your failure is preserved. There's really a lot of like worrying about what other people are thinking. Let's see what the Poggz have to say. Let's stir them up, shake them up. If that is really loud when I'm editing, I will turn the volume down. So if you hear the volume shifting, that's why. Okay, let's see if I can just grab one with these fingers. Come on, y'all. Huh. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. It is, oh my gosh, what is that? What's this? Stitches. Oh, you guys. You know, can I first just say I'm happy for you that you are at this point where you are ready to move on from something that's really difficult. And I'm really, speaking of pride, I'm really proud of you for everything that you have gone through on this journey, healed from, put up with, managed to still find joy in the midst of whatever this chaos is that you're going through. And I love you. And I know that's weird hearing a stranger say that. I might not be a stranger though. My friends watch these videos too. But I do love you. And you know, if you feel unloved or whatever's going on, or unworthy of love, or if you're just really grieving right now and you haven't even like had time to feel good about all the love that exists in the world, I just want to let you know that it is out there. You will find it and feel it. There is going to be a really cool feeling inside your body in the near future, and that's going to be like love reminding you that it still exists. So let's get into stitches. This pog, it means that the wounds are pretty much healed, but the stitches still need to come out. And it's actually really interesting that on this Five of Pentacles card, we've got a cool pumpkin guy with crutches, because this pog talks about time to take out those stitches, time to get rid of the crutches. You don't need them anymore. Like if you get a cut and you have to have stitches, the stitches keep together while it's healed, but after it's healed, it's time to take the stitches out. After your broken leg is walkable again, it's time to get rid of the crutches. You don't need them anymore. But we become reliant sometimes when we lose things, when we really get down in the tar pits and like shit hits the fan and it's gooey and sticky and ugly and it seems like it's never going to go away. There was a huge, I live in an old creaky house, so let's just say that was a ghost. Anyway, where was I? But yeah, it feels like the failure is never going to go away. It feels like it's preserved, and it feels like everybody knows it. And everybody's like watching you and everybody's judging you and blah blah blah. We get these things to help us heal, and they could also be coping mechanisms, but we'll get the stitches, we'll get the aids, we'll get the supports that we need to help us through these difficult times. And then when the difficult times start to get lighter and things start to get better, and maybe even you're like ready to move on, we still hold on to these support systems. We still hold on to these crutches, these medications, whatever it may be that we don't need anymore, but we're just so used to taking them every day, using them every day to help us through this time, that we either become reliant on them, or we think that we can't do it, without the crutch, without the stitches. So it's time for the stitches to come out. That's what this pog is saying. And you know, you guys had like some real bad news happen in this reading, but guess what? This doesn't make it okay. And I'm really holding space for you and what you're going through. But everybody goes through hard times. Everybody goes through shitty times. Okay? This reading's not out to get you. This is not a curse. This is something that's here to provide healing. This is talking about stuff that I kind of feel, it feels like it's either happening or it's already happened. You know, I feel like, especially with the stitches, you know, it's like you've been going through it. And there's a lot of people in this world that are going through it. And maybe even in the process of going through it, you have been the asshole to someone else. You have lashed out because of the, you know, the pain, the fear, or even maybe that person might be involved in whatever is making your life all crappy right now. But Stitches is here to say that, like, not only is it okay to heal, but it's okay to be healed. And I know that the healing process is ongoing. It's hard to say, like, oh, I'm completely healed, I'm totally fine. I don't think that that's ever going to happen, but it's okay to move on from certain wounds. It's okay to let things go. And we've got, I mean, this is coming out, this video is coming out Halloween of 2022, around this time, and it is eclipse season usually every year around this time. But we've got a lunar eclipse coming up, and we just had a solar eclipse. And there's, you know, always, there's a full moon every month at least. So there's always time, space, special celestial events going on where you can perform some sort of ritual to let go of some of the crap that you're still carrying, to like ditch the crutches that you no longer need, to say goodbye to all the crappy feelings from that past person that you know, went out with and they treated you like crap and you guys broke up and then you never had the courage to go out with anybody again, or whatever the case is. Like, you can let that go. You can let that go, you know. I do feel like I want like a little bit more, so we're just gonna pull like a regular, not a regular pog, but like I have the rest of my Poggz here that are not Halloween or monster. They still might be spooky though. I'm pretty spooky. But let's just pull one to grow on. Let's pull one for the road, because even though I feel like the stitches it's kind of saying, hey, like, it's okay to let go. You know, this shit is weighing you down and it's making you feel really crappy. And it's okay to let go of it. And again, with the, like, there is so much pride coming through that I'm feeling in this reading. And with the tar pit metaphor of you feeling like your failure has been preserved and like maybe you'll never get over it and all of that, the universe is telling you, yep. Cope, bitch. The universe is telling you that it is going to get better, and the catalyst for it getting better is you letting some of that shit go. Cope here is celebrating our pure emotions. Cope. This is a Pog that is actually kind of like a celebration of grief. Wow. Okay, first, y'all, I was not even expecting to give like this deep of a reading. You know, you're going through it. You're going through it. It happens. I'm going through it too. But this is, you know, the Cope Pog comes out to be like, yo, it's okay to feel like shit, and it's okay to be sad. It's okay to need time. And this is the thing here with grief, or at least something that I keep in mind about grief. You need rest. You need to slow down. You could take that time, the time of rest and slowing down, to process what's going on. But you just need to rest. You just need to sleep. You just need to allow your body to like let go. Allow your brain to like dream and go to different dimensions, so it's not here all the time thinking about whatever this is. And then yes, and that's not to say stop thinking about it. It's saying take breaks from thinking about it. Because absolutely, if you need to cry, cry. If you're angry, feel that anger. If you need to journal, if you need to process, if you need to talk about it in therapy, if you need to break ties with someone, you know, whatever that real world, quote unquote, stuff that you need to do, absolutely do it. But give yourself a goddamn break. Take a nap. Sleep. Dumb out in front of the boob tube. Eat some snacks. If you're into it, drink some wine, smoke some weed, whatever, you know, something to relax you. But again, remember the stitches and the crutches, like whatever you're doing to help you relax, don't let it become a crutch. Don't, you know, be mindful while you're doing it. Like, no, hey, I'm doing this for myself as a gift, to give myself the gift of rest right now. But this is not going to be every day. This is not going to be, this is not going to become my new life or my new persona. I'm just right now coping. And this is so, you know, I see so much loss. There's so much loss in all of the, in the cards, in the book. So yeah, something great has been lost. And you know, sometimes, and here with the celebrate, okay, now I want to draw another Pog. Sometimes with great loss, like, it's a good thing. It's something that we wanted to get rid of, but we're still going to feel grief. We're still going to grieve that loss. It's natural. It's completely natural, because you used to have something in your life and it's no longer there. So, I thought I grabbed a Pog, but it was just my plastic finger that I was holding. Okay. Come on, baby. Oh, honey. Okay, you got Criminal by Fiona Apple. Okay. So this song, I recommend listening to it. I'll put the music video, or I'll put the link, okay, because I have a page on my website that has the lyrics and the music video. So I'll put a link to that page in the description below so you can listen to the song, watch the music video, read the lyrics, take what resonates. Music is such a great healer, and it has so many messages for us. This song, Criminal by Fiona Apple, is what I need is a good defense because I'm feeling like a criminal. She's just being herself. Fiona Apple is just doing what Fiona Apple does and is getting pegged as a criminal. And this, whatever, or is getting shamed. Shame. Okay, yeah. See, I was feeling so much pride come through. And this is about other people wanting you to be ashamed of something. So that can just, that like shame is like the fuel to the pride fire. Shame is the fuel to the pride fire. That just came into my head. Maybe later I'm going to decide that doesn't make any sense, but there are a lot of systems in place, a lot of organized religions, capitalism, white supremacy, very, very deeply ingrained systems in place that want people to be ashamed all the frickin' time, to just feel shame all the time. And like this person right here, they fucked up, and the moon's like, dude, I'm so disappointed. And the cat's like, fuck you, dude. All these bats are looking at you. Like, whatever happened, you made a mistake and you can't forgive yourself for it. And it feels like no one else can. And maybe people do keep reminding you of this mistake. But I think that it's time for you to forgive yourself. You know what, too? The stitches, here's the thing, a little insight on this video. The Monster Edition, the Poggz are printed, but the little booklet is not printed yet. So they are technically still under pre-order. And so I don't have the booklet, but I could hop on my computer really quick and read what the Reading+Poggz is. But I also know somewhere around here on my desk I have some notes that I took, but I think the Reading+Poggz also has it has thoughts about forgiveness also. I want to give my Poggz like each Pog like a whole book of meanings sometimes, and I gotta like whittle it down so it can fit in a tiny backpack. But now I am signing in to my computer. Stitches. The wounds are healed, but the stitches still need to be taken out. Let go of the support, crutches, medicine you no longer need. Forgiveness can mean allowing someone or something to leave your thoughts. We hold on to stitches out of spite, and forgiveness is how they are removed. Forgiveness is letting go of the need to be spiteful and moving on with your life. Compost. Now that is some behind the scenes shit right there too, because I don't think I could fit all of that on the little page for this. So compost. There you go. Compost. Give it back. Give it back to the earth. Like, or wherever it came from. Whatever this is that's plaguing you, that you're holding on to. Other people are holding on to it perhaps too. Like, let it go. And that means if there's somebody who won't let you forget, maybe you need to let them go too. Or disallow them from being in your thoughts 24/7. That's what forgiveness is. You know, I mean, yes, forgiveness could also be like, oh, okay, like, I'm not mad at you anymore and let's be friends again kind of forgiveness. But to me, forgiveness is saying, I am ready to stop thinking about this all the time. I'm ready to stop feeling guilty about this all the time. I'm ready to move on. So I hope that this reading was helpful. I definitely, like, at the end of giving readings like this, I feel like it's kind of left unsolved, but I think we talked about a lot of stuff here, and I'm giving you permission to love yourself through this process and compost what needs to be composted. Again, I love you. If you want to hear the new song that I dropped for this video, because it's spooky and it's about waking up the dead, and it's also kind of an ironic, what it really is, like, it sounds like a spooky song, but it's really an ironic take on how after problematic people die, we're not allowed to, like, talk about the bad shit that they did. We have to just let them rest in peace. So I got ironic with that and made it like, oh, you're waking up the dead. So yeah, so that's at the end of this video. I'll put it in the timestamp, so it'll be after the next reading. And I'm sending you as much healing as I possibly can right now. And you are held and you are worthy and you will get through this. And it's okay too if our failures are preserved. Like, sometimes we have to be accountable for our shit and move on. Sometimes we're never going to erase something from our record, but that doesn't mean that we can't move on. It doesn't mean we aren't a good person. It doesn't mean we can't have joy in our lives. All right? You're doing great. I'm going to go on to the next reading. Thank you so much for watching, and happy Halloween! Okay, y'all. If you chose to turn to page 83, this reading is for you. As you can see in the last reading, my desk got a little nutso. But you know what? Let's just keep going. In the midst of chaos, we can keep going. Anyway, let's go to page 83 and we'll see. Okay. So you decided to not go deeper down into the stinky tunnel. You decide to take the stone steps to the left. The narrow tunnel gives you the creeps. After a few steps down, the stairs level out. You see another set of steps leading upward. You start to climb again. Your feet scrape across something gritty on the floor. You glance down and see sand. Sand? Definitely weird, you think, as you reach another stone landing. You feel as if you've been climbing up and down for days. You stretch your legs and then continue up the stairs. Where do the steps come out, you wonder? A back exit from the pyramid building? Do they lead into another building? A hot breeze ruffles your hair as you near the top of the steps. That's odd, you think. It was chilly this morning, and the weather person on TV predicted rain. Finally, You reach the top. You walk outside and squint as your eyes adjust to the brilliant sun. Huh? Your mouth drops open as you gaze at the scene in front of you. Sand? Camels? Pyramids? Desert? Is this? No, it can't be. Are you in Egypt? Dun dun dun. Awesome. Cool. Okay. Let's get some cards, but what I can tell you from that is, you know, you made a decision to go in a different direction than the one you had first thought you were going to go in. And it ended up taking you to a very magical place. And the speaking that it has a lot about going up the stairs, and it feels like you're climbing for ages, reminds me a lot of, to me, it kind of makes me think of like the Judgment card. But also, let me get, this is the journal that I made for Reading+Poggz Companions, and one of the coloring pages makes me, this story is kind of reminding me of it, where it's like, let's see, where are you? Gotta take off one of the fingers. Of course, it was the first one. Yeah, oh, okay. Here we go. Okay, so I called this is the Judgment. The number for the Judgment card is 20, but I call it Trust. And what it is a staircase that it's a spirally big ass staircase that you do not know where it's gonna go. But everything's pointing you toward it. So yeah, this really is like you're not sure what's gonna happen, but you're stepping through a door. You're doing something new, and you're trusting along the path that it's gonna work out, that it's gonna be okay. And as far as the story goes, when you come out, you end up, you're in Egypt. Like, something very magical happens, because before it said office building. So I feel like, you know, you started out in America just exploring an office building, and then all of a sudden you're transported to a completely different continent. Yeah, so let's see what the cards. Whoa. Judgment. And geez, I don't want to take all these. And the sun. Okay, cool. When it's like more than 2 cards that pop out, I'm kind of like, no. Okay, so Judgment and the Sun came out, but like, let's draw from the Over the Garden Wall deck just to get some clarification, because it was kind of like, I definitely wanted these cards to come out, and they did, because I was just talking about Judgment. But, oh, snaps. Okay. 6 of Wands, 8 of Pentacles. Yes. Oh my gosh, look how cute. Okay. If you guys didn't know that I love pumpkins and that they're probably my favorite thing in the whole world, now you know. This is so cute. All right. Hey, good for you guys. Oh my goodness. You guys. I didn't really want to say this, but the last reading was a doozy. Holy moly. The last reading was going through some shit. And this is coming out on the other side, sparkling clean, healthy, happy, ready to, and this, it says rise, and it says awaken, sleeper. And the thought like rise to the occasion just came in to my head. And the sun sometimes speaks about like arrival, like you've made it, you're doing great. And the sun is also just a card, like it's probably the happiest card in the tarot. It's very much about just like, you've done it, you're doing great, you're having a great time. These guys are obviously having a great time. Look at that two-headed troll. He gets to nap with a bone in his mouth in the warm sun under sunflowers. What a beautiful card. And then we have the Six of Wands, which is victory. Victory is like the biggest word that this has for me. Not only are you victorious in your efforts, but other people are noticing it, and other people are seeing you as a leader. And then the Eight of Pentacles is like almost like you're just minding your own business. You're working, you're doing your work, you've got your head down, you're literally making money. And like all these glorious things are happening around you. Something that I can say too is for the folks who did choose the first reading, and then maybe you're watching this reading, I feel like this is the transition, because the first reading was very like, it was like they were going through some shit, and the message was to like move on, to forgive and take steps to stop feeling guilty about the situation. And I feel like the steps, one of those steps is this Eight of Pentacles, to put your head down and start working. I don't know if put your head down is the right phrasing, but like mind your business. Does that make sense? Like the last reading, I think the subject was really worried about what other people thought of them, and there was a lot of pride coming through, and guilt and shame, and those are all like feelings that kind of come with worrying about what other people think. But this card is somebody who's just like, I'm on a mission. I have this idea, I have this thing that I want to make, create, I have this project that I'm already in the midst of, and I'm just gonna do it, and I don't care if anybody even notices that I'm doing it, and I don't care what other people think, because I'm too busy working and having fun. And I don't mean working like work yourself to the bone. I mean like, if you have been writing a book, if you have been building a house, if you have been dreaming even of some sort of new adventure or an art project or taking a trip or something, it's like, just work on that. Do whatever you can to focus your energy on that, and think about it and work on it. And that is stepping through the door. This Judgment card, and walking up the stairs, leaving behind the other stinky, creepy tunnel that you didn't want to go down, the tunnel that gave you the creeps, leaving behind that, and then going on a really long, arduous journey up all these stairs to seek out something better, to step through the door, to move on to something greater and new. So this is the transition period. This is the catalyst, I believe. You're going to be victorious. Like the Sun and the Six of Wands are they're also very fiery cards. So like there's a lot of passion behind what you're working on. You're not just like, you know, oh, I'm gonna just whittle a bunch of coins because I don't have anything else to do. It's like, no, this is something that I want to do and it's worth the work. What this card is saying to me is not necessarily like you're having fun all the time when you're working on this project. It might be something that there are boring parts to it and then there are fun parts, and sometimes you put it off because you don't want to do the boring parts, you don't feel like it, or you know, whatever. So, but this is like, just like get into it. And you know what, right now, okay, so the veil is really thin right now. This reading's coming out October 2022. Lots of eclipse stuff happening, lots of big changes happening, lots of it's the transition of going inward. This is the season of death, and next we're gonna have winter if you're in the northern hemisphere. And depending on your climate, it gets colder in the winter and snowy, and there's just these moments where you are inside, not only inside your house getting cozy, but you're inside, you're thinking, you're going deep within yourself and spending that time working on the things that you want to work on. And I do see that whatever this project is, or this adventure, or this, you know, this thing that is a new focus for you is something that, yeah, like sometimes, and I'm not going to say it's boring, but sometimes you're sitting there just like you're listening to a podcast and you're just like going at it, you know, like if it is whittling pentacles, you're like carving the wood and you get into a groove and it becomes kind of like a mindless thing that you do while you have other entertainment in the background. And then there are times where you do have to put a lot of thought and skill and creativity into aspects of it. But this is like your focus and your passion, and other people might not understand it, but it doesn't matter because like you're the one who's doing it, right? And the thought that came to my mind too is make sure when you are entertaining yourself, like if you're listening to podcasts or like watching, you know, Netflix or listening to music, like make sure that it's stuff that makes you feel good and that enriches you, not just like having a bunch of commercials on in the background or something, like, you know, maybe some dramatic or toxic people being jerks to each other and you're not really paying attention to the content. It's just playing in the background. Because yeah, there's something saying just like surround yourself with the things that you really love and that make you happy, and take time, make time, find time to create a space for you to just like make some cool stuff or work on cool things that you want to work on or go on a trip. And this is loving on yourself too. Like you are loving on yourself so much when you do this, and it will only yield positive results. Maybe I shouldn't say that. That seems really extreme, doesn't it? You're only gonna see good stuff. Okay. This awakened sleeper, and there's an infinity underneath it on this judgment card, is really making me think of, yeah, this is something you've been sleeping on. It's something that you've been wanting to do for a really long time. And maybe you either thought that like you didn't have time to do it, or you weren't worthy of doing it, or the parts of it that are a little like tedious are making it like, oh, I really want to do this thing, but the first thing I have to do is clean out the shed before I can even do this. And I don't want to clean out the shed. So it's like, put on some good music, clean out the shed. That's what this is telling you. Awaken, sleeper, rise and shine, mother fuckers. Okay, so we have the Halloween Poggz and the Monster Poggz in this cauldron, and I'm gonna pull one out of here, mix it up, see what we get. I'm trying not to look at them, but also it's just so hard to get them out of here anyway. Like, doesn't matter. Spoken word. I don't know why I go every time. But actually this does make a lot of sense because, you know, and on the last reading I ended up doing this. I wasn't planning on doing this, but the I'm getting out my computer right now. The Monster Poggz, the Poggz themselves have been printed, but the packaging and the booklet for the Poggz has not yet been printed. So technically now there's still like pre-order because it's not like a complete product that I can ship. But I wrote the book, baby, so I can go on my computer and find what I wrote. And what's cool too about this is that it also has my notes about all the Poggz. So not only are you gonna get the actual like definition that's in the booklet for this Pog, but you're also gonna get some extra insights from my notes as well. So spoken word. Speak your truth into being. Affirm who you are. Learn how to say I love you in the tongue of your ancestors. Speak your goals and ideas out loud to trusted people and your spiritual team. They can help you achieve great things. And then my notes are, speak it into being, have conversations with your friends, spirit, future self, say I love you in your native tongue, say your path out loud, affirm who you are, let others know. Yeah, you need to speak plans out loud. Okay, that really kind of drives that in, because I know that there are a lot of like, there are a lot of spiritual practices where we are secretive and we don't say everything out loud. And, you know, the whole concept of knocking on wood is, well, something that I learned about knocking on wood is there was a belief that there were imps that lived in the trees, and if you were talking about something that you were excited about, the imps would make it their mission to sabotage what you're talking about. So if there was something that you're excited about or something that's going well in your life, you knock on wood while you're talking about it so the imps can't hear. So there are, you know, I know there are a lot of practices where keeping things a secret is good practice. But in this case, it's saying that there's something like this project, this idea that you have, there are people in your life, and obviously talk about it with trusted people. Don't just like go blogging about it. And if you have like a really good idea and you don't, and I understand, you know, like you don't want other people to steal your idea, be careful of who you talk to about it, but talk to some people about it, because that's going to affirm to the universe your excitement. It's going to keep that I don't know why I just started doing this. It's kind of like a cycle, like the cycle of what needs to happen in order for your dream to come true. It keeps that in motion. That's what it is. It keeps the motor running, keeps the momentum going by talking about it, and not only talking about it with other people. Like, if you tell the right person, they will be like, let's just say you have an idea to I'll just do mine. Whenever I get this card, I think about Poggz, because I like make Poggz, and these are discs. And so let's say I have an idea that I want to make some pogs, and I keep it a secret and I don't tell anybody about it. But if I just mention it to like one of my friends, they could be like, oh my gosh, I know this guy who prints pogs. And I do now, but like, oh, I know exactly where you can get those printed. Or I have a friend who actually wrote a book about the subject that you are making your pogs on, and it would be really cool if you connected with them. And then it creates some like really new, strange relationship with somebody that you have common interests, and a creative network. And that's the things, like, you don't have to tell everybody your secrets, but you should share your joys with the people that you love. And then once you create something, if it's meant to be for other people, share it with the world. Speak it into being. Speak it into being. So there's stuff like, and this is so much like judgment. You're rising to the occasion. You're stepping through the door. You've made a decision. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do the work, the boring work, the fun work, the in-between work. And it's going to be glorious. It's going to be so glorious. But you need to speak it into being. There's something about spoken word here. Speak it into being. What else did it say? And also, like, affirming who you are. That's a big thing. That's the thing, too, with this card. And how I was saying, like, if this at all is related to the last reading where somebody was really caring about what the outside world thought of them. And then this is somebody who's like, you know what? I just am gonna do what I'm gonna do, regardless of what other people think. And so I think that this is also a way of affirming yourself, but affirm yourself out loud. So this is kind of silly, but like a couple months ago, I started making hats, and I've been crocheting hats forever and making hats of all kinds, but I didn't wear hats for the longest time because when I was younger and had problematic older siblings and just jerks at school and stuff, anytime I ever wore a hat, somebody would like take it off my head and run away with it. And I developed like this fear every time I wore a hat that somebody was going to take it from me. So I ended up just not wearing a hat. But then when I started making them again and wearing them again and being like, oh yeah, I'm an adult, and people don't just like steal your hat anymore. Sometimes people do though. I've had to set a couple boundaries recently. But anyway, like a few months ago, I just kind of was like, I love hats. That is something about me that is important for me to know. And maybe it's important for other people to know, depending on the situation. But this is like a part of my character description, that I love hats. And now I do wear them a lot, but like I went so long without wearing them, without embracing that part of myself, without affirming that part of myself. And I just thought that was really interesting, that popped into my head. But yeah, so here I am affirming myself out loud. And this is something that's actually even it seems kind of trivial, might even be a little silly. But I love hats. And that is me affirming out loud to whoever is watching this, something about myself. And you can do this with anything. Like I'm pansexual too. I am, I don't know. I'm such a weirdo. I love spooky stuff, but I also love cute stuff. But there are so many people out there that are like, that doesn't mean weird. Yeah, I don't know. Like there's a lot of things that I know about myself. There are a lot of things that I know that I need. And it's important to affirm those things out loud to the appropriate people in your life, because they will then be more supportive or be more understanding, or maybe they also like the same thing, and it can just develop that relationship even more, like, yeah, affirm yourself out loud. And then, oh yes, and learn how to say I love you in the tongue of your ancestors, or in your native tongue. I learned, okay, so I'm Irish and Scandinavian, and I apologize if I butcher the pronunciation, but the Gaelic, the Irish Gaelic, I love you is magrahu, and the Swedish is jag älskar dig. And I learned how to say those, and I say them to myself. I say them in the mirror. I put my hand on my heart. It's pretty powerful. It's a really cool way of connecting with your ancestors if you are aware of where your ancestors came from, or where you came from. And you have the ability to do that. But also, ancestors don't necessarily have to be blood relatives. If there's somebody who's really important in your life, who is a really important part of your life, and they passed on, they are now an ancestor. And yeah, so and also, again, with like the vocal affirmation, going to the trouble of learning how to say I love you, or anything. I mean, it doesn't have to be I love you. It could be a positive phrase in the tongue of your ancestors, to speak the language that they spoke, and to say the beautiful things that they said to yourself is also affirming to yourself that you care about your ancestry. It's affirming to your ancestors that you care about them. It's creating a deeper connection, and it really is, it's just a very intentional way of connecting. Especially, you know, like somebody like me who is white and was very distant from, or distanced from, ancestral knowledge, and living in this world that we have today, where we as white people have stolen a lot of indigenous practices from other cultures. It's super important for me to be like, wait, like, I have indigenous practices. The Irish, the Druids, the Celts, the Vikings, you know, like, some of them are problematic, but some of them weren't, and there is a lot of magic there. And yeah, so, and the spoken word is something that you're being encouraged to do right now, is to actually speak things out loud. And I also just realized that, you know, there might be some people watching who don't speak. So this could also be an indication to communicate something in writing to trusted people. All right, I'm gonna draw. I feel like I'm just gonna, this reading's gone very nicely. I'm gonna draw one pog. We'll see how it goes. The last reading, like, I was just planning on drawing one card from each deck and one pog, and then saying goodbye. But the last reading, we needed some more information. So I'm also going to pull from the complete set of Oracle Pogs, and we have Surrender, and one fell on the floor, and Strength. So we've got 3 S's. Surrender, spoken word, strength. Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, surrender. This is the chrysalis. This is the caterpillar inside of the chrysalis, and there's a lot of action going on because there's this huge transformation taking place, and this caterpillar is turning into goo so it can restructure itself as a butterfly. And it's in this chrysalis, like, what the fuck is happening? This is not normal. This has never happened to me before. I could be dying. I don't know what's happening. But at this point in time, it's important for the caterpillar to stop fighting, or else it will stop the process of transformation. Right now, a huge transformation is happening. That's the thing too here is judgment. You know, you're stepping through a door. And with what we read in the book, you don't know what lies on the other side of the tunnel, but you made a decision to go in the direction that you are going in. And it's arduous and it's long and you're going up and down stairs and you're tired. So it's like very much a struggle getting there. And you don't really know what's waiting for you on the other side, but you're being asked to surrender. With the spoken word too, you're essentially asking for help too. Or I mean, I don't know if you're asking for help, but you're letting other people know like, hey, this is what's going on. And maybe you can even say like, this is what I'm surrendering to. And there is like this network of support around you. I really feel it. And the strength Pog is really, you know, speaking about like you have so much inner strength and you do have the ability, you have the patience, and you have the discipline to surrender to this moment and allow the process to take place. And this strength also, you know, it's not about well, it's not always about physical strength. It's mostly about the inner strength, fortitude of the mind and spirit and the heart to endure what's going on. But it kind of feels like this stuff's great. You know, like really from the Eight of Pentacles, the only struggle I'm seeing is the motivation to do the thing that you want to do. I don't really see like people getting in the way of that. I don't see a lot of drama. I just see it like, ugh, but I don't want to clean out the shed, you know? But it's like, just, you got it. You got the strength. And and again, with the surrender, it's like we're coming into this season of, maybe in the past you didn't want to clean out the shed because it's a lot of work and it could be boring. But also maybe you had other things going on and you're like, yeah, but if I spend all day cleaning out the shed, then I can't go for a bike ride or whatever. But now it's like, wait, it's coming into like, it's getting colder. I need to clean out the shed. Maybe this is a message for me to clean out the shed because now I'm thinking about it and the shed is a mess. But yeah, like things are slowing down. You know, it's no longer summertime. It's no longer like, oh, let's go out and play outside all day. It's like, okay, let's spend a few hours like reorganizing stuff that's inside. Let's go within. All right, well, that feels like a really good place to end. I love you guys. I wish you all the success and happiness with this new endeavor. And the transition process could be a little like boring or weird, but just, you know, give yourself the space and time to rest through it, to surrender to it. But also, yeah, that's kind of contradictory, huh? Meaning like rest but also clean out the shed. It's like, no, you'll figure it out. And actually what you're gonna do is you're gonna probably figure out a way to clean out the shed in a way that it feels like you're resting, you know? Because you're gonna have fun while you're doing it. You're gonna be entertained while you're doing it. This dude's sitting down on a bench. They're relaxing. They are working really, really hard, but they also are relaxing a lot of their body. So find ways to do that. Look at this. Look at all this relaxation. And look at this. Look at this victorious toad frog. That's you. Good for you. Happy Halloween. If you want to, after this, I have my new spooky song that I made this weekend that I'm gonna post with some sort of video. And so yeah, I'd love it if you would just watch my new spooky song. I made it for Halloween season. I also made it kind of just in honor of the new Poggz set that's come out. This song is called R.I.P. and it's actually an ironic, sarcastic song about how when a problematic person dies, we're not allowed to talk about the problematic shit that they did. Or, you know, some people say that we can't. People will say respect the dead, let them rest in peace, etc., etc. And so this is my like sarcastic, ironic take on that. I hope you enjoy it. I also hope you really enjoy the rest of your fall and Halloween. And thank you so much for watching.
Don't tell the truth, or you'll be waking up the dead. Let my secrets die with me. Don't trust anybody.